And we should be live on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for the first time. So thanks for everyone that's tuned in live and is watching this. Anyone that's watching it as a replay, thank you as well. If you let us know, right? Sometimes it's just nice to see with a quick hashtag live or hashtag replay, so we can get a gauge for who's tuning in to watch us today. I'm joined by one of my clients, James Wickham, who's just been on the Reignite PRO program, and despite having savage man flu, which we've just been talking about, has kindly agreed to come on and just talk about his experience on the program, some of the things that he's taken from it, a little bit about his story as well, in a little bit of detail. So, James, before we sort of get started and sort of jump into, Reignite PRO, like, give us a bit of background, like, who are you, what were you kind of doing before, how did we meet, that kind of thing?
Sure. So I'm a company, so digital transformation consultant. Basically, I used to be very fit, but a few obstacles sort of come in my way in the last couple of years, and I'd got into some bad habits really, and I'd gone through a period of being able to control sort of my mental health and my physical health, but it was very up and down. And what I used to, as soon as something would hit me, whether, I don't know what I've got now at the moment, but bad cold or flu or whatever, it could interrupt various different things, and I would just sort of go back down. Then I'd go back into a period, right, got to sort myself out and everything. Then, yeah, it would just keep sliding. So I knew that I needed a bit of support and advice in this area. So I'd done some research, and I found Alex on LinkedIn and looked at his the site, what he said he could do, and excuse me, reached out to Alex, and we had some really good chats, good conversations before joining Reignite PRO, and yeah, so that sort of takes us up to where we were, I think.
Awesome, man. Well, I remember that sort of having conversations with you, and it, at that time, it wasn't just about physical health, was it? There was the mental element as well that you were wanting to work on and look at. If you cast your mind back to before coming on board to Reignite PRO, what was actually going on? Like, how were you feeling in and of yourself?
It was mixed. It was, I've just been very up and down, and what had happened was in the summer, I wasn't working, and it being very hot summer and being very nice, and I started drinking probably too many drinks, and the calories started building up, and my exercise just non-existent really, and I very quickly sort of ballooned in weight. And when I was younger, that never used to happen, but it did, and it was really starting to get me down. I was very tired. I was not able, I believe, to give as much attention to son I should have been able to, or my partner, and or me really. There's things that I like doing, but just felt I couldn't do, or when I did, it would send me the next day deeper down into the slide. So that's where I was, and I always knew I could do something. I always knew I think I knew I had it in me, but I needed help and support and that guidance.
What do you think it was? What, before we started doing some work together, what stopped you from taking action in the past, or even, like, because it wasn't stopped you taking action because you would do things right. There was definitely, when we talked, there was some consistency there, but then it would be falling back to old habits. What stopped you being consistent, would you say?
I suppose it was thinking I was getting so far, and then something would stop me, and then I wouldn't make any progress, and it's a bit like I could get back. You fall off. I felt it was like falling off your bike, but I couldn't get back on it. And if I did, I just went a little bit further up the hill, but then another obstacle. And I've always been very resilient in my career and work and things like that. But this is especially with regards to my physical health. I just couldn't. I didn't feel I could do it, and I didn't have the enthusiasm that that zest, especially the feeling I've got now. I didn't have that, and I really wanted it.
Okay, and so stepping on to Reignite Pro, so we sort of sorted out your program. You came on board for the last sort of 3 months. What did you want to get out of that 3 months? You know, coming in when we were setting the goals and the outcomes, what were some of your goals and outcomes?
I think one of my main outcomes really was to be more just healthy lifestyle. I wanted to be as good dad as I can, and to do that I need to be more awake, need to be more alert. So there was that sort of standpoint really. There was the physical side. Looking at myself in the mirror was very depressing, and it got to a point where I could go to, not that I'm a gym person as you know, but I could go to the gym every day and I still think I wouldn't have been able to do it because I wouldn't know the science behind it. So there was that. And I think mentally as well, to sort of help me when I've hit curves, sort of go through a process of, done a lot of reading, had sport in the past, and been very good. I've always gone back into these slumps, and I needed some sort of bit of hacking and engineering to go up there to sort of give me a bit more resilience in those aspects. So those were sort of the things I really wanted from the program. And when we'd had those initial chats, I knew that there was a very good chance I'd get that.
Awesome. And so we break down the program into kind of 3 key phases. There's clarity, which is about diagnostics and looking about where you want to get to. There's an energize phase, which is just the basic foundations in place, and then there's optimization, which is stepping up in intensity and taking things to the next level. You know, what was your just general experience on the program? You know, how did you find it?
So the clarity, the first 2 weeks was like opening Pandora's box, and just I'm into quite reading about stuff. It was brilliant. Learning about different sides about nutrition and how difference between carbs, proteins, fat, and how they work inside. That was really interesting and an eye-opener. The science about doing certain workouts in the mornings, that was brilliant. And I think the clarity phase as well, also you set the stall of what I wanted to do. And then moving into the energize phase, which I think with hindsight, Alex, was possibly my most successful part of the program, because I really, because there's chances in the program to sort of either stay up or move yourself up in certain parts, and I chose to move myself up, and I really saw differences at that point. That was really, really where I saw it, and I really started enjoying it. And I actually started getting, there was one day I hadn't done a certain thing and I left it too late, but I still went out and done it, and it got quite addictive. But it was also, I was starting to see results. I was starting to see results quite quickly, and that was really encouraging. Optimization was brilliant. I was hampered, as you know, by an injury, but that didn't stop me. I just changed the focus of what I was doing, and with hindsight, well, looking back now, I optimized quite well in that I got the results I needed, if not more, by doing different things. And that was me. That was a bit, Alex helped, but I worked out my own routine. I worked out how I was going to do it. And I started crafting a few things of my own nutrition as well to support that. And that injury cleared up. It's just a sporting injury. It was just what it was. And but all 3 phases were brilliant. I think learned so much. and it's amazing what you can do.
And if we look at, you know, it's sometimes quite easy to articulate some of the physical changes, right? We can look at your photos and you can see, you know, over a 12-week period going from A to B. Sometimes what can be a little bit more difficult to articulate is, you know, changes to what's going on up here, mindset changes. So when you think about, you know, some of the mental changes to your mental health or how your mind is set, mindset, you know, what we talked about with neuroplasticity, what's fundamentally different in that way? Is there anything fundamentally different in that space? And if so, like, what is it?
There's more belief, and that's coming through, I think, professionally as well. Although I've got a lot of belief in what I do professionally, but that's helped. It's just made me stronger, not just physically but mentally. I'm able to process things in a better way. I don't get stressed about things like I used to. I'm able to engage with an issue or a problem and deal with it in the right way. I think, as I said at the beginning, I've always known I've been quite resilient. I've gone through a lot of my life, as a lot of people in this call will know it, and or have experienced more than me. And but I didn't know how resilient I was. I didn't know how far I could push myself. I didn't know where I could take it, and that's especially with the physical side. So going up the grades that I went up, and I done it. I mean, I hit every mark other than when I got the injury, but I done that. And I was able to push myself, and that was because I had the mental fortitude to do it, and I had the resilience to do it. But I think one of the biggest things I had was I had the will to do it, and I really wanted it. I wanted it more than anything, because if I knew that if I could sort this out now, at the age I'm at, and the age my son's at, and where I am in my life, then I've got a very good chance of a good future in front of me, because I've laid a foundation.
A very powerful reason why. I mean, we talk on the program about emotionally connecting to a reason why and being able to amplify that, so you can actually start to change behaviors, so you can start to change the automatic scripts and patterns that happen more automatically. But it wasn't without its challenges, right? Like you talked about an injury there. Over the 12 weeks, sometimes I've had clients that have come in and they think they're going to get, you know, a 12-week run at it and nothing bad will happen. I've also had clients that have come in and maybe they've had an injury and they've decided that because they can't do the exercise component, they're just going to give up. That certainly wasn't, you know, your experience. What sort of challenges did you have to face into, and how did you overcome?
So in week 2, so I was doing a lot of swimming, and it was actually, funny enough, it was the same shoulder as later on, but I tweaked my shoulder, and I was really concerned, because this is the kind of thing that would have just thrown me before, and I've gone, sod it, I'm not doing this anymore. And I spoke to you, and we tweaked some of the stuff I was doing in the morning, and it went quite quickly. There was a few things that happened, life stuff happened, but I just got on with it and dealt with it. I went on holiday and had a really nice week away, but I still kept up with my training, and that was quite challenging in certain things, especially watching some of my friends put away the lovely food that they were putting away, and think, not that you can't still have that, and that's another thing I learned on the course, but it's certain times in doing that. I think the biggest one was physically was the injury at the end. I think it was week 9 or week 10, where I really badly done my shoulder, and I couldn't put any weight on it. And it took, I'd say it was only last week when I actually felt I could actually put weight on it again. And that was tough, because that was in the optimization phase. And there was a moment where, because you go through, you've got the clarity, the energize, and your optimization's in the word. You now build on all the good work you've just done. And I thought, here we go. You know, I've done all of that and I can't. But then, as I said earlier, I done other things, and I didn't rest. I just done stuff, and I got through it. And I'm a little bit since the program. So program finished on Sunday, and then on Monday morning I've come down with this horrible bug, which has thrown me for 6. I haven't been unwell like this for a very long time, but it stopped me doing some of the exercises that I plan to do this week to sort of take me on to the next stage. But I've carried on with other things that I've learned on the course. I've got quite into Stoicism. I've kept up with my reading, done mindfulness, and I've just, you know, and I've learned to accept. I accepted that I was unwell, and I've done a little bit more every day. I've worked every day, but I've just done what I can. I've accepted that, not got frustrated by it. Today's the first day where I'm actually feeling a bit better, but still far from good. But it's okay. It'll go. Worst things happen to other people, and you know, so I'll get through it. But I've learned more on the mental side to accept that, and then just do the best I can.
Had you ever tried anything like this before? Like, had you ever sort of looked at something holistically, not just, you know, the physical space, but mentally, emotionally as well?
Yeah, I had, but I've done it on my own, and what I've done is I've done it, but I've gone into it, researched it, read about it, not seen the benefit straight away, not giving it the patience that it sometimes deserves, and just sort of, I'll touch on that again. I'm very into ambient music, which I've always used, and I've that's sort of something that's helped. But yeah, I've tried certain things, I suppose, with exercise regimes as well. I think about a year ago, I remember I'd done loads of walking, and I was starting to see the benefits then. I can't remember, but something stopped me, and then it went into, as I was talking about again, the curve instead of what I've got now, which is a nicer, straighter line, which was going up slowly, which is what it should do. This is not an overnight miracle, but it is something that doesn't, you know, 12 weeks is not a long time when you really think about it.
No, not at all, right? And what you've achieved in those 12 weeks, we'll get into that in a minute. But what would you say if you're just focusing on, let's say, exercise and nutrition, which a lot of the mainstream fitness media will tell us is if you're overweight or you don't have enough energy levels, right, go and just, you know, exercise more, or get a diet plan, or get a PT, or get an exercise program. Now going through the Reignite PRO program and, you know, possibly approaching it from a slightly different, broader angle, what do you see as like some of the problems with that approach?
I see some of that stuff is just not backed up by science. It's not backed up by actual results. On Reignite, I've learned the mental side, which is just, so it's great to get up at 5 a.m. and do some exercises. You've got to have the will and the power to want to actually do that in the first place when you go to bed the night before. And I've learned what it is about that. I would imagine going to a PT or something like that, you're not going to learn all of that. You're not going to get that. It's just going to be about beating targets in the gym, and that's great. But you might be doing the wrong exercises in the first place, and you might be doing. I mean, I used to do a lot of running. I don't do so much now, but I don't do any running at all now. But it's learning about the different types of exercises. It's not just all about cardio, and it's not all just about putting on weights as well. It's a combination of different things, but having that understanding about how your body works as well. And it's not just all about necking protein shakes and everything like that, but it is about understanding and knowing your body, and but also knowing what I know now. I thought I had a limit. I don't think I've got a limit now.
That's a massive change, right?
I don't mean I'm going to start sprouting wings and learn how to fly, but if I put my mind to something, I think I could do it.
And what do you think, what fundamentally helped with that change? Because that's a significant or massive change in terms of mindset and how you think, and then, you know, associated feelings with that. What was it? Was there like a particular, I don't know, system on the program that helped with it? Or was it a gradual sort of,
It was
something that happened over time? What was that?
It was both, Alex, because you used the Kaizen principle, which was good. And Kaizen, for anyone on the call that isn't aware of it, and if I've got the wrong definition, apologies, but it's basically the principle of building good habits, but slowly, a little bit more every week or every day or something like that. So you start off, it was just a gradual increase. Some of them felt more challenging, but when you're actually doing it, you actually realize, oh, I can do that. And I remember there was a jump to the optimization stage, and I remember the night before thinking, I've got to get up and do that. And I actually felt a bout of excitement, because I was like, I can do that. I'm going to do it. And it was a great feeling to have that confidence. And I genuinely think I'm not Arnold Schwarzenegger, and anyone that knows me or seen me knows that at all. But and I don't want to be either, but I do want to be able to be in a condition now where I can look after myself in a physical way that makes sure, and this is possibly the most important thing, in 20, 30 years time, I'm still reasonably healthy, because what I do now is going to impact that down the line. And it would be nice to see my son grow up in a state where I can actually be active in that as well, and not just watching. That's what I want.
What would you say then is, it's probably quite a big question, this, but what would you say was your biggest takeaway from the program?
Knowing now that I've got a platform that I can go to the next stage. But I've got a platform now where, other than having man flu this week, I've never felt healthier. I've never felt better mentally. I'm very confident in who I am and what I am. I understand more about me. I understand more about people around me as well, in the way it is a very, this program is not just about the fitness side. If you want to, it is brilliant for that as well. I mean, I'm not complaining. You know, I feel fitter and physically better and look better. But it really is about what you learn outside of that as well, and the mindset. I mean, there was a moment when I was walking, when I was walking to the swimming pool, and I used to do the walks there and back, and I suddenly noticed how quickly I was walking, and I was like, okay. And then when I went swimming, came back, and then something just hit me, and it was that moment when I was like, yeah, I can really do this. And I think that was about week 6 or 7, and that was an exciting moment, because then I thought, I've got 5 weeks left with Alex to sort of really go for this and take this on. And then, of course, now I can really, hopefully, really build on that as well. But I'd say the whole thing, Alex, that is a big question. Yeah.
It's not an easy one. Maybe, so if you look at different areas of your life, for example, I actually saw that you'd put a post up about this, that off the back of doing some of the work that you've done on this program, different areas of your life, if we'd sort of take broad areas, for example, like business, like relationships, and also health, kind of being 3 big 3 ones, right? What's changed in those 3 spaces? Like, has anything changed? And if so, like what has?
Health, well, I think we talked quite a lot about my health, but that's just generally improved. I'm more aware of what I'm putting into my body and how I can get the best out of it as well. I think in career, so it's been 13 months now since I started my own business, and with anyone that's done that, you know, you're going to go through a few dips and slumps, but it's going really well at the moment. I'm really happy with what I'm doing with the clients that I have. And I can see that what this program's given me as well, because it's making me more active. It's making me more alert. So when I'm actually doing, it's making me more productive because I'm able to concentrate longer. I'm able to be aware more. I'm getting more out of my day. But what it's also helped as well is because I've been more productive, doesn't mean I'm working till 9, 10 o'clock every night. I'm actually stopping at a decent time and spending time even like socially with my wife or with my son. So the benefits are there, and it's excuse me, the best investment I possibly ever made.
Wow, powerful stuff. Well, look, I'm just conscious of your time, and so I want to kind of end with this thoughts around, quite often when people come on to do a program like this, they're not in necessarily a bad place. And I don't think, you know, there were things that you've discussed just now that weren't where you want them to be. But if we kind of actually went back to that time, you'd probably say, I'm doing okay, right? Maybe even I'm doing good, but it certainly wasn't great. Like, what would you say to people that were in maybe a similar situation to you, that, you know, are doing well or good in certain areas of their life, maybe career, maybe it's, you know, family's kind of on point, but there's kind of areas that aren't in alignment with that? What would you kind of say to those people?
What have you got to lose by actually dreaming big? What there's the only limit you can put on you, and the only limit you're putting on yourself is the limit you're putting on yourself. It's you that's putting that limit on. I mean, I used that post earlier, impossible is nothing, and it means quite a bit to me now, because it was a statement, but now it's something I really think and really feel. And I can assure you, with all that I've gone through and will go through as well, that if I can do it, anyone can do it. You know, it's how much you want it. Do you want your life to be really, really good? Would you want it to be okay? If you want it to be okay, fine. But if you want it to be really, really good, you would do a lot worse things than doing this program, because this has given me a wonderful foundation, wonderful opportunity for the rest of my life now to build upon this and to make it even better.
Awesome. Well, look, dude, thank you so much for coming on and just sharing about your experience on the program, giving your thoughts and giving people watching a little bit of background. I've seen there's a couple of comments there. Matthew saying, inspiring stuff on a school run to motivate me for next week. Awesome. Thanks, Matthew, for that. And if you're watching this, if you do have any other comments, please post them up. We're going to call it a day there. So thank you, James, for coming on board.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. And anyone that would like to go and see what James is up to from a business perspective, you've got thoughts or needs in the digital transformation space, please do. We'll link to his profile off the back of this. And anyone that's thinking about their own performance and health for 2023, what that looks like, and you want to get ahead of the January rush, want to make sure that actually putting the foundations in place now, we'll put a link in the comments as well, so that you can book a no pressure 15-minute chat with myself this month. Other than that, hope you guys are gearing up for Christmas. I know we are. Wife's already got some of the most of the decorations up. So until next time, stay safe and speak soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.